The culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on the fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
Both games.
Miami's goal is to hope to God to his head hasn't been scrambled like an egg at a diner. Missing his presence at the end of the season cost them any chance of making it far. But it also has to do with a defense that kinda sorta fell apart. And that's putting it nicely. To help correct such issues, they need a big name to free them from hell. One that speaks to a falling star, but still good enough to be a massive upgrade. The Rams are rebuilding, and Jalen Ramsey is gonna come dirt cheap. So why not get him? As a foil to Xavier Howard? It works. As Tyreek Hill plans to retire after his contract expires in a few years, they'll need support. Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert coming back aren't enough. Miami needs motherfuckers. And one's a free agent from New York. Do I even have to mention his name? Legends like Mike White don't grow on trees. This is even better than getting Jalen Ramsey. A tale of two teams. One with two under center and one without. As trendy as it is to criticize him, the Dolphins are a significantly better team with Tonga Vailoa. But will he be able to stay healthy this time around? Concussions are prone to repeat after the first one. Protecting their man will be at the forefront of every conversation. With the weapons they have in their arsenal, it'll be a deadly force if healthy. Their offensive line has improved at the very least. It's nothing special, but it's better? Yeah, that's a go. They've tried the same thing with the defense. Perhaps not cover zero blitzing every single drive will help with that. So with Jalen Ramsey, but he's become an Apple product. A name brand that breaks down way too often. Take him to the Genius Store and we'll see you in December. Hopefully nothing else falls apart on them in the process. Speaking of falling apart, the Christian Wilkins negotiations have reached an impasse. You can afford them, right? In the AFC East, regardless of competition, the Bills are still the best in class in my opinion. AFC North, barring more injury to Joe Burrow, Cincy takes it with their elite offense. The AFC South, it's Jacksonville's to lose. They have to win it by default, right? Although we did say that about Tennessee last year. And the AFC West is a Kansas City affair. As usual. Wild cards, though, they're really hard to gauge. Pick them out of a hat, I guess. Ravens, Chargers, and Jets. Why Jets? Because this is usually how ridiculous it tends to be. Sue me. I'm sorry for all the teams I jinxed as always. I regret nothing.
Cincinnati, a beautiful night and all.
Excuse me?
A beautiful night in Cincinnati. Tonight's first half highlights.
Herbert versus Tua. The debates about their draft positions and skills continue to rage on in the fires of NFL discourse. In this matchup, it'll be a fight to the death. Blow after blow thrown by each fighter in unison. Defense not needed. It's a purebred shootout that'll be remembered for a while to come. Miami can't stop the running attack of the Chargers. Not San Diego can't stop Tyreek Hill or an inside slant route. Birds of a feather. And more alarming for both since they've tried everything to fix glaring issues on those fronts. What we get is a back and forth affair. Tension aplenty as the lead switches sides frequently. However, one side is a glaring weakness. And that man's name is J.C. Jackson, currently wanted in LA for theft of millions of dollars. The final play of the first half is masterpiece. Dumbass committed blatant PI on a receiver surrounded by three other Chargers with no time left. That spot foul got Miami into field goal range. And they converted their fuck up. In the second half, Jackson was deliberately targeted on the field. Dude covered as well as tattered loincloth. No wonder why he was benched. Tua proved to his haters he couldn't throw by skying the ball for over 400 yards. 200 of them to Tyreek alone. Dimes on top of dimes. A performance for the ages. Capped off by a final drive of legend.
Wajapama is in the backfield. And they go to the end zone and caught. Hill, touchdown! Touchdown!
If only they didn't miss the extra point. You'd believe the Chargers would respond, but that would imply they weren't cursed by demons. The offense sputters because they panic when Miami manages to blitz them. The one time J.C. Jackson doesn't let a receiver catch the damn ball. If he doesn't fuck that up, the Chargers win. Every time they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory becomes even more unbelievable. Football is definitely back. The Patriots better be thankful Belichick hasn't lost his defensive mastery. If it weren't for that side of the ball, New England would be getting blown out most games. How out of sync they look when holding the football in the first half? They should be thanking the gods they're only down to Miami 17-3 at half. The only offense happening are Patriots fans being cancer. And is that really a revelation? Regardless of that, we're cursed to the same damn script as last week. The defense solidifies with outstanding play, and Mac Jones overcomes the horrors that the Patriots unleash on him to get back in the game. Tua haters proceed to salivate with an underthrown pass that's picked off. But do next to nothing with it as Raheem Mostert takes advantage of that safety play to rumble for a touchdown. Not a problem for Mac, though. He knows who to target. Eli Apple. At least for some of it. A touchdown to get them within one score does the rest. The question is, can they get another chance? Thankfully, a botched snap on a 3rd and 1 and a botched kick that goes wide gives them such an opportunity. The time of judgment has come upon the Patriots. Do or die time.
Here comes Chubb. Jones throws. It's caught. Gesicki flips it back. It's brought in by Strange, the offensive lineman.
It happened again. A turnover by literal inches. Good God, that's deflating. If I had a nickel for every time that's happened to them this year, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice in 2 weeks. The ride never ends, Denver. You sold your souls for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. The punishment will be Vance Joseph. I don't know what the hell happened with Mike McDaniel when he was a ball boy in Denver, but he didn't just want blood. He wanted entire ancestral lines obliterated. Did they pull pranks on him as a child? Did they scar him? This wasn't a game. This was a man patiently awaiting his chance to exact revenge for repeated slights. The Miami offense literally steamrolled over an entire Alpine village. An unstoppable wall of fire that incinerated everything in its path. Broncos fans thought last week was agonizing. This was so much worse than that. The Dolphins are in an infinity loop. Mother of God. They're still obliterating this defense with their backups. Their corpse has been infested with maggots and necrotizing from decay, and McDaniel is still beating the shit out of it. 70 points. That is not a typo. Miami walloped the Broncos for 70 points, the 3rd most in NFL history. Over 700 yards of offense. Lolcow of the week isn't even a contest. Denver, you get this in a complimentary scoregami. I haven't seen horses get slaughtered this badly since World War I. So the answer seems obvious. Sean Payton is not the answer this team needs. Game of the week? Yeah, sure, the Bills say to themselves. Their quest to destroy everything in their path after the great humiliation continues on. The Dolphins supposedly have a great offense? Well, Buffalo can do one better. Actually, far more than better. The Dolphins talk about having a cheetah while the Bills are an actual cheetah. Whatever defensive attack Miami could muster was no chance for Josh Allen's ascension to Fire God. If that isn't enough to be incinerated where you stand, here comes Stephon Diggs to gash whatever's left of you into dust in the wind. It was public slaughter in front of their home crowd, and the fans relished in it. This is supposed to be the best opponent the league can offer? They want a real challenge. Even DeMar Hamlin's back as a dressed player. Just give that guy comeback player of the year right now. The only cost of victory is in Tre'Davious White. He suffered another serious injury, oh god damn it. Daniel Jones is the NFL's Mr. Potato Head. Every time he gets sacked behind that shitty O-line, pieces of his body keep falling off him. Bad news this week, Giants. Wink Martindale's been waking up in a cold sweat. He walks into his master bath and silently weeps in front of his sink. His defense is up against the Dolphins. They can score on teams at will. And New York doesn't have a game-changing answer to stop the likes of Tyreek Hill or Devon Achane. The sad part was that Wink's unit did their job by making incredible splash plays. They forced the Dolphins' offense into 3 critical turnovers, including a 102-yard pick six. They made Tua throw some really shit balls. Yet with their offense without Saquon, they can't take advantage of it. There's nothing here. They can't get anywhere close to the goal line. And against Miami's firepower, you're fucked. When hell rains upon you, you get more than burned. Daniel Jones reached his hit quota for the day and was pulled with injury. Remember though, if you rightfully criticize the shitty O-line, you're a burger or hot dog flipper. The Tywin Lannister quote and all. Hey Evan, at least the fast food worker can hold his position on a fucking line. Chase Claypool might be joining you there if he doesn't get his shit together. Miami's bored of the standard blowouts. Carolina's pretty much lolcow the team, so why not add a touch of a challenge? Don't show up in the first quarter. Gift them a 14-point handicap. The Dolphins need to be kept on their toes, and this is the way to do it. Once the restrictions ended, Miami rolled up their sleeves and rolled over the Panthers like the shit show they are. How much more can you simplify the offense, Mr. Reich? It's not really Bryce, it's the shitty line in front of him. And almost everything else. They can only watch in awe as Tyreek burns their secondary repeatedly. And then get flagged for taunting and fined for the awesome celebration. This game went from competitive to over in about as much time as the Dolphins' offense takes to rev into overdrive. The secret is that it doesn't take long at all. Miami, I personally wouldn't recommend getting into this handicap against other teams you play. They won't be as dead on the inside as the Panthers are. I forgot to do this last week, so let's get this out of the way. The 72 Dolphins stand alone for another year. Sure as hell not tonight, though. Even when Philly wins, we still feel unimpressed. It's not in the score, it's in the ways they're winning. Doesn't feel like the Eagles in anywhere close to what they could be. I know you're gonna say it's Miami and they're a really good team, but the Dolphins have only feasted on shitty opponents. It's a test for both franchises, yet here we've learned absolutely nothing. The game was surprisingly sloppy early on, like getting a roughing the passer call because they pushed the QB. Philly does have a strong 17-3 lead at home thanks to A.J. Brown and the brotherly shove, but they let off the gas. When it comes to the Tua-Tyreek connection, you can't just look at the rainbows. If you do, it'll temporarily blind your offense to where you can't do anything. Miami then does things. They'll somehow implode deep in your territory, but look over there! Hot Pockets! Game's tied, which leads to frustration. Fortunately, Philly is the luck of the Kelly Green on their side. Plus, they didn't make the same mistakes they did against the Jets. They unleash the full power and sprint away from another embarrassing moment to bury their opponent in all facets of play. Once again, yes, it's a win, but it still feels underwhelming. Good job on the 0 penalties, though, Eagles. Goes to show that anyone can bribe officials or threaten their families. Miami suffers ref ball on a setback, but Buffalo lost too, so they didn't lose control. Just accept the script and move on. Philly, you've also won Kevin Byard to aid your ailing secondary. Home game against the Patriots, automatic win for the Dolphins. The hoodie and his empire must travel to the harsh environments of Miami, it's already over. They may as well be down in Endor fighting against Ewoks. Bring out the AT-ATs and then fall to primitive traps to go 1 for 9 on 3rd down. Despite having the early advantage. This is the New England way. Have some momentum, push the ball deep in Miami territory, and then Mac forces a terrible pass right to Jalen Ramsey. Wait, Jalen Ramsey's back? Thought he was supposed to be out until mid-December. The football world is full of mystery. Like how the Patriots continually frustrate everyone in their fandom with their repeated tripping on landmines. Miami did well, but once again, until they can beat a legit contender, there will always be questions. Just keep grinding these convincing wins out and you'll get another chance. Hallo, willkommen auf Süddeutschland. Frankfurt ist ein Land der Offenbarungen. Die meisten davon wussten wir bereits, aber sie müssen noch einmal gesagt werden. Die Chiefs werden von einem zurückhaltenden, hervorragenden Verteidigungs- und Siegen gezerrt. Und die Dolphins finden keinen Weg, sie zu besiegen Qualitätsgegner. Die erste Halbzeit war sie einfach der Hammer. Es war nicht möglich, ein Drittel nach Guten zu verwandeln. Und die einzige Vorkraft bestand darin, ihrem Gegner eine heiße Tasche zu beschaffen. Am Ende der ersten Halbzeit stand es 21-0. Klingt nach einem Reifenschaden, oder? Leider sind die Chiefs recht großzügig und mochten ein Flickspiel schenken. Beleidigen stagniert. Entscheider Ballverluste. Und Chris Jones wird zum fucking Idiot. Bei einem Drittel nach unten. Wir befinden uns jetzt in einem Punktsatzspiel. Allerdings kommen die Dolphins einfach nicht über den Berg hinweg. Ihre Beleidigungen gehen in Stocken, obwohl Kansas City unter Matt Nagy leidet. Miami, du hattest die Schuss. Alle Ersalugen über dich zu binden. Aber es endet wie das letzte Stück. Verpfuscht. Kansas City entkommt in letzten Minuten. Zumindest ist ein Sieg für sie. Hässlich, aber trotzdem. Raiders' miracle run continue against a non-New Jersey team? That is the real question moving forward. Should I say the real question is if Miami can manage to get their shit together? Even after a week off, they just look unbelievably sloppy. Inconsistency, the name of the game on the offensive side of the ball. Great throws to Tyreek Hill followed up by fumbles on runs by Tua. Deep drives to the red zone undone by stalling out at the 1-yard line. Countered with another impressive drive and touchdown to Salvan Ahmed, and then countered again with another fumble. An arm punt by Tua to start the second half of play. Shanked field goals. For 400 yards of offense mean nothing if you go 3 for 11 on third down. The Raiders have a legitimate chance to steal this game away, and it's somehow being stopped by the Dolphins' defense. Odd because Aiden O'Connell takes 1 step forward and about 2 back with bad interceptions. The Dolphin offense is surprisingly sluggish for the rest of the game because their opponent is playing their hearts out. But a 7-point lead seems insurmountable to Las Vegas. AOC and Josh Jacobs can do nothing against this defense. The Raiders in general can't. Every shot they have is undone on 4th down, stuffed by a Dolphins team desperate to win. Yet they keep getting chances. And since they're only down by 7, tension fills the air in Miami.
Good time. Going deep. Looking for Tucker. Intercepted. Another one for Ramsey.
Who knew that the Dolphins defense could bail out a bad game by the offense? That's a nice Uno reverse card this time around. Sorry, Las Vegas, you fought hard, but you just didn't have enough power to overcome your opponent. It happens. Better luck next time. On an interview recently, Tom Brady bemoaned the incredible amount of mediocrity in the NFL today. Not only am I gonna say that he's one of the major people responsible for the state this league's in, he was too nice in his assessment. The level of shitty play I've seen in the past few years makes me wish for mediocrity. A good chunk of these games have been unwatchable. Black Friday, what a great day for football. I can't wait to sit down and watch Tim fucking Boyle start at quarterback. Somehow, someway, the terrible Jets offense got even worse. Colin Kaepernick, 7 years out of the NFL, would have unironically been a better option. Hell, Vinny Testaverde would have probably been better. The Jets defense is the only thing keeping them relevant at all. Thank you, Tua, for gifting easy picks on out routes to them. But you know what? I should be more positive. Tim Boyle can say one thing to his grandkids someday.
Meanwhile, he just tries to get away from everybody, throws it into the end zone, into a lot of traffic, and there's a pick on the other side. And coming back from the end zone is Holland, and Holland is out to midfield, and Holland is inside the 40, and Holland is inside the 20. Can you believe this?
He threw a 99-yard touchdown pass in the NFL. This is peak Jets. A rubber stamp of complete fail that comes once in a full moon and epitomizes why this team should contract. They threw everything at a golden goose that tore his Achilles before he laid eggs thanks to a terrible offensive line. What do you get with an all-in push like this? Jet sweeps off the damn field. A microcosm of the New York fucking Jets. Lolcow of the week, this is a Lolcow of the year nominee. Anyone who's a fan of this team should be entitled to compensation. Raising your kid to be a Jets fan should be classified as child abuse. Miami won, but America lost by being addicted to shitty football. The Dolphins have still proven nothing, but it doesn't matter. Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas have no answers and are going to be sent to the guillotine, justified or not, for this failure. Woody Johnson loves him some good scapegoats. Nothing surprising of note happened here. Miami did what they do best. Beat the ever-loving shit out of garbage opponents with a high-flying offense. Tua to Tyreek flying in the air for an easy delivery of 6 multiple times in this game. The only thing smelling good in this Commander shit pile is a tasty pick 6 to Andrew Van Ginkel. An absolute shellacking which merely reinforced every single trope about both teams. All the way down to the scoregami. Ron Rivera isn't just done, he's being walked to the back shed by ownership at this point. What the fuck even is the defensive game plan for the commies? Playing Space Invaders? So bad even Jay Gruden's shooting arrows across the damn nose. Incompetence and corruption in Washington. Who expected anything less?
I'm calling both games.
Miami's running out of gas. Their high-flying attack isn't exactly high-flying when everyone and their mother is going down with injury. Every time I tuned in to watch this game, another player was on the ground wincing in pain. The Dolphins are down 4/5 of their starting offensive line. They're playing with a backup center, and the worst-case scenario has happened. The Cheetah's been poached by defenders. Even Waddle and Tua are flirting with the damsel known as injury. This game has proven one major fact. Miami runs through Tyreek. Without him at full strength, the offense straight up dies. In fact, both offenses are dead. Both Tennessee and Miami keep falling on their face in the red zone. At least the Titans are starting a rookie and are having growing pains. Why are the Dolphins reinforcing stereotypes? You're tied at 13 against a team lost in the abyss? Press the panic button and let the chaos fly. And Tennessee takes these opportunities and collapses on themselves. See, Titans, this is why you're completely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Miami's up by 2 scores, yeah, this game's over. Back to the MetLife Circus. Did I miss something in the chaos? Oh no. Miami? What are you doing? You're up by 14 in the waning moments of the game. You're supposed to play defense to hold the lead. They turned it back into a one-score game in a nanosecond. And we're favored by 2 touchdowns against these fuckers. The Titans are supposed to be dead. Mike McDaniel's offense doesn't have an off switch. Why in the good Lord's name is your defense turned into an Aaron Glenn unit? Does anyone know the Heimlich maneuver at Hard Rock Stadium? Is Stephen Ross betting on the Titans' money line? Someone stop them!
Henry cuts it back, dives and scores, and Tennessee has tied it up.
Oh my god. I didn't know Miami cosplayed as the Falcons. To call this a joke is insulting to the term itself. This was a Chernobyl-style meltdown. A game that was all but won fumbled away in hilarious fashion. They made Will Levis look like a franchise quarterback. They gave their rivals life. I don't exaggerate how much they blew it. Before this moment, teams that were down by 14 with 3 minutes left were 0-767. This was only the 5th time this has happened in the 21st century. An unprecedented collapse deserves an unprecedented honor. 3 recipients of Lolcow of the Week. No, the Dolphins aren't frauds. That's a slap in the face to everyone that is one. Titans, thank you for your gift to the meme world. Now watch as Buffalo ends up winning the division.
You had an opportunity, and you blew it.
Miami is the classic schoolyard bully. Find the pipsqueaks in the playground and pummel them for their lunch money. No Tyreek Hill for Miami, no problem. The Jets are absolutely destroyed in every conceivable formula. Their quote-unquote offense needs no explanation. Zach Wilson was sentenced to die by a Dolphins group seeking vengeance. Their O-line merely a swinging gate seemingly pissed at him for not buying them Rolexes for Christmas. Their defense has been carrying for so long they just said fuck it and checked out. You know something? I don't blame them at all for quiet quitting. The Dolphins just walked in and smashed the rubble into a fine powder. That rubble had a Zach Wilson clinging on to life in it, so he's out for Trevor Siemian. Tell me, is generating a hard-earned 4 yards at halftime against a defense that collapsed last week good? It's hard for me to tell. Not only buried alive, but covered in flesh-eating bacteria and left to be consumed by maggots. The only image burned in their heads as they erode to nothing is Stephen Ross doing the waddle. Aaron Rodgers is gonna come back to this? Yeah, fucking right. New York, you got your wish of a franchise quarterback. Too bad you wished it on a monkey's paw. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Fraud Bowl. 2 teams that thrive on terrible opponents only to buckle at the slightest of adversity. Only one can maintain their bragging rights for this auspicious title. Will it be Miami, who hasn't won against a playoff caliber team all season? Or will it be Dallas, who is weakened outside of AT&T Stadium? Neither team wants to be crowned with the thorns of faux contention, and they'll make it a strong duel to the very end. There's one concern that needs to be addressed for the Cowboys, though. They're awful on the road. In their travels, their home cooking goes sour. Whatever strengths they have are exposed to the cold winds of reality. That brilliant pass rush can't do a damn thing to generate pressure, only accruing 1 sack against an O-line full of backups. It's honestly pretty standard Cowboys. Need a win to assert dominance, yet fold like a stack of cards. Whatever their concern, whatever they throw at Miami, nothing holds. They just can't get into that extra gear they flashed throughout the season. All that's being traded by both teams are field goals despite the efforts of Dak and CD. The 6-point deficit, Dallas needs to make sure they can keep up with an easy Eagles schedule. They must pounce on the opportunity. They do get a little help from the Zebras, but in this scenario, don't ask questions, just take the touchdown and run. They have a 1-point lead in crunch time. The defense just needs to hold. Only one problem. The Cowboys are cursed on the road. There is only despair and isolation on the lonely trail. And it leads Miami right to field goal range with no time left.
He's got it! Miami is in the playoffs!
That's an interesting way to get your first one against an opponent in 20 years. The questions and concerns can be silenced, at least for a day. The world laughs at Dallas in a service to most Americans. It was far from pretty, but at the end of the day, what's done is done. Their ticket is secure. Welcome back to the playoffs, Dolphins. Baltimore has everything to prove in the next month and change. To overcome all the narrative, setbacks, and past failures, they will have to be at their best to secure the ultimate prize. If they keep playing like they did against Miami, I think there's a decent chance of that happening. This matchup wasn't a simple win. The Ravens picked their enemies to the bone. They razed everything to the ground. They salted the earth so nothing can grow again. Lamar Jackson bulldozed whatever was left and pissed on the remains. They sent another message. If you stand in Baltimore's way, do so at your own peril. Those that aren't prepared will be broken, physically and psychologically. Look at the Dolphins and their bodies strewn on the battlefield. This will be you. And there will be no choice but to try and go through them since they're the #1 seed in the AFC. Maybe the Dolphins will get their shit together and secure their division against Buffalo next week. Or maybe they won't suffer even more injuries. Would have been nice not to choke against the fucking Titans, just saying. Before we begin, I must hand the Bills their honorary pass to the playoffs, regardless of outcome. It came a bit late, but there were some technicalities to sort out. This reduces a touch of pressure on Buffalo, but this matchup is for the AFC East. And I think Miami would rather not have to travel up to the cold if they don't have to. Even if the Bills win, I've been thoroughly unimpressed with them. The mainstream media's been parroting that they're this sleeper team headed into the playoffs. In what way? That they fall asleep when it matters? Have they been paying attention to anything that's happened over the past few months? This is a team that's been escaping their own incompetence repeatedly. A group that relies on high-end talent to bail them out. A prime example. Buffalo was in or near the red zone 6 times in this game. They only scored points on 2 of them. The rest were self-inflicted wounds. Either Josh Allen becomes fire god or he burns himself up repeatedly with turnovers. Or they get way too over-aggressive and don't take the damn points before half. It's frustrating because with the way they dominated Miami, this shouldn't have been anywhere near a contest. The Dolphins are destroyed, yet they keep getting chances at life. Buffalo's begging them to do something with it, but trusting Tua's arm has backfired on them. You should be leery of both teams. But at least the Bills got bailed out by talent and broken plays. Can you tell I'm not bullish on them? Somehow managed to win the division because Miami is crumbling at the seams. Even in their final chance due to Buffalo's arrogance, Tua's haters rejoice with a pass thrown into double coverage to seal the game. Seriously, you're trusting Chase Claypool with the final drive? You deserve to freeze your ass off in Kansas City. Have fun playing with a second-string defense. Sometimes nothing matters in the end. You could have one of the flashiest offenses in the league, an improved defense, and Super Bowl hype for weeks on end. But you know what happens? Fate takes a gigantic shit all over your hopes and dreams. And most of your offensive line. And most of your defensive playmakers. And wide receiving talent. A team that could put up 70 points on a foe suddenly stripped of their greatest assets. And the defense of theirs had a lot of question marks before this moment in time. Can Vic Fangio perform miracles? I doubt it. The high-flying offense of theirs can still soar, but they forgot to install an off switch. When it doesn't work, it's firing blanks. Remember the Titans? Denzel would facepalm at that collapse. The smell of death is in the air. Its putrid stew just added a blown AFC East Division title to it. The haters think you're a Tyreek merchant, Tua. They think you're a system QB, Tua. They think you're Nick Mullins with a Polynesian flair, Tua. Will you prove them wrong?
Dan Deerdorf here, welcoming you to this great football matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. We're all set for kickoff and... Oh, and Dan, it looks like Japanese people are now rushing onto the field.
Puts it up, high and intercepted. Now gonna have to make a play, and nobody does it better than him. There goes Mahomes, inside the 10. First and goal. Really a 2-man rush with a spy as Tua throws incomplete. Hill in motion, guarded by Snead. 3rd and 14. Can Achan get through the traffic and get there? Goes for the 3, direct snap. Pacheco fakes the pitch, bounces left, into the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City.
This is not the kind of thing you want happening during kickoff.
The Sharks were smelling a fraud in the water, and their dismantling is a yearly tradition. Dolphins being killed off, vacuum-packed, flash-frozen, and sold off for $10.99 a pound at your local supermarkets. Can't beat a competent team not named Dallas, and they can't win shit once December hits. The division hopes going cold results in freezing solid in Kansas City. Negative 30-degree wind chill, which is better than how Miami looked in their wildcard game. They were as beloved as the Peacock broadcast. as lifeless a performance as you'll ever see, flailing around on the ground begging for death. This wasn't even a challenge. They need to ask themselves some serious questions in the offseason. From the offense that lacks an off switch to Tua going limp when it matters to Mike McDaniel morphing into Cliff Kingsbury with every screen pass, is this team going to do anything with this core? If things go south early next year, the axe might start swinging in a hurry.